Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
One tiny rain cell left across our area, but later this afternoon, more are likely to develop. I'll show you how many and who's likely to be affected.
And protests in Raleigh. Demonstrators are planning to speak out today after state lawmakers passed a pair of immigration bills. What the bills say and how people are reacting.
Also, concealed carry, a bill at the state capitol, faces final approval today. We'll break down the support from gun rights advocates and the concerns still lingering on that issue. As we get our Wednesday, June 11th started with a beautiful sunrise here behind us. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. It is nice to see the sun again right after yesterday's cloudy day. Early this morning, we also saw some lightning around the triangle. Our tower cam in Garner was able to capture this ferocious lightning strike that was 30 miles away shortly after 4 this morning. And you can see those flashes in the sky. Those storms were moving across Chapel Hill in Durham early this morning.
And also, it's hard to tell from the tower cam. It's so tall how far away that is, where it is, but we know where it is now. Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center tracking it.
It's almost gone at this point, north and east of the triangle. Way up here in Warren County and just a little bit, kind of, I guess, going to clip the northern part of Nash County there. South Hill, you're seeing just a little light shower, too. If you're headed out of Durham up the I-85 corridor, you're going to want to run into some wet roads there. But once this is over, we're not likely to see much more today. That's a very small, just isolated chance for some showers and storms later on today, and I'll walk you through it on Futurecast coming up. Here's a look at Lewisburg. Lewisburg was in the path of that cell, lots of lightning and some heavy rain, so it is still a little damp, a little bit wet here in Lewisburg. 75 degrees in the triangle with a dew point of 70, so it's a really warm and muggy start. A hot afternoon. Highs will be in the low 90s. The heat index will be in the mid 90s today, but it could climb up to nearly 100 later in the week. I'll show you when it really starts to feel uncomfortable, Ken.
All right, 601 Elizabeth, all new into the WO traffic center. We got first responders working a crash on Highway 55 near Green Oaks Parkway. That's right at that interchange as you're entering Holly Springs. Right now, we're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but if you're getting ready to leave the house, Holly Springs resident, just look for some police activity in that area and move over if you can, if you have an opportunity to do so, giving them an opportunity to work that crash scene safely. Elsewhere, though, all other major routes are delay-free at this hour, including right here at I-40 and Wade Avenue. Traffic flowing nicely in both directions. You're getting ready to head out onto the in your car. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
A curfew in the city of Los Angeles is hours away from being lifted amid anti-ICE protests over the last several days. The curfew went into effect last night. It is set to end at 6 a.m. Pacific time. That's 9 a.m. our time. It applies to a 1 square mile section of downtown Los Angeles. The LAPD says it began mass arrests when the curfew went into effect. LA Mayor Karen Bass says more than 23 businesses have been looted over the course of the protests. For the past several days, President Trump has deployed more than 4,000 National Guard members and 700 Marines. Typically, governors are the ones who deploy the National Guard. It is extremely rare for a president to do so when a governor has not requested it.
And Renee, in response to the protests that have been happening in L.A. as well as the military response to that area, we've seen protests that have been happening elsewhere. New York, Chicago, Atlanta, even in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. So many people were protesting yesterday, showing support for those who are protesting in Los Angeles. And they had their chants that were sort of essentially denouncing what President Donald Trump is doing. But again, this is in direct response to the military showing up in Los Angeles as a result of President Trump deploying them there. We're still watching to see any other arrests that have been happening in L.A. As we were talking about this morning, nearly 400 arrests made in the past 4 days. But in terms of elsewhere, we haven't quite seen full numbers come in. We'll be watching that, though, here on the WRAL Live Center.
And Chris, thanks for that. Same topic, but those protests are expected today in Raleigh. We hope they're peaceful. It comes as 2 immigration bills head to Governor Josh Stein's desk. WRAL's Laura Levine is live in downtown Raleigh, where this will be the second day in a row for these types of demonstrations in Raleigh. Laura, good morning.
Jeff, good morning. Crowds of people are expected to take to the streets here in downtown Raleigh today, really pushing back on what they're describing an attack on immigrant communities and really just repressing protesters as many people are trying to speak out. What we're seeing in LA now playing out here a little bit here in Raleigh. Taking a look at some video of protesters from yesterday. This heightened tension in the capital city comes after the North Carolina Senate approved Senate Bill 153. It's a wide-ranging immigration bill that now requires state and local government agencies to cooperate with deportation efforts by ICE. This legislation moved forward amid nationwide protests against ICE and as dozens of these protesters packed the Senate gallery, then marched to the governor's mansion on yesterday. So tonight, larger demonstrations are planned, as we mentioned. Raleigh Police Chief Rico Boyce addressed how their department is preparing for possible unrest in the city.
As the Chief of Police, I will make sure that folks can gather safely, peacefully, and exercise their First Amendment right. But under the understanding that my job is to make sure this city remains safe, and we are definitely prepared to do that if need be.
So this immigration crackdown bill now heads to the governor's desk, which could potentially set up the first veto battle between the Republican-led legislature and the new Democratic governor. Meanwhile, here in downtown Raleigh, those demonstrations are expected to take place around 6 p.m. at Moore Square. Laura Levine, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Today, a bill that would allow carrying of a concealed weapon without a permit could get final approval in the state legislature. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is live outside the legislative building this morning. And Kelsey, gun rights activists are pushing for looser restrictions, but those are raising some concerns.
Yes, Renee, they are. This bill would allow essentially anyone who's over the age of 18 to carry a concealed gun without a permit. So House leaders will meet here in the legislative building a little bit later today to make a final vote. You're looking at video of state lawmakers discussing the bill yesterday. Right now, concealed carry permits have several requirements: a background check, a fee, a test that proves you know how to shoot and understand gun laws. Plus, you have to be 21. This proposed bill would lower the age to 18 and eliminate all those other requirements. Republicans who support this change say it gets rid of unnecessary red tape. Critics say this is a public safety threat and could lead to more young people having guns without proper training. A couple Republicans actually have voted against this early on in the voting process. Some Republicans chose not to vote at all. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on the final vote that will likely happen today. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
A family is out of its home after this fire in Holly Springs. You see the heavy flames coming out of one window there. It happened yesterday afternoon on Sunset Walk Lane. 2 people were inside the house at the time. They were able to make it out safely. Investigators are working to determine the cause.
An 18-year-old woman is dead after a car crashed into a pond in Harnett County. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was on scene when emergency crews responded to Norrington Road in Lullington around 6:30 last night. They found a car that went into the pond. Officials believe the crash happened more than 15 hours earlier, around 3 yesterday morning. Police say they believe rain and speed were factors in how the car ended up in the pond.
It was a celebration of force as President Donald Trump visited Fort Bragg for a demonstration of military might. He witnessed how powerful, fast, and capable the Army is at responding when needed. More than 600 paratroopers jumped from planes, heavy artillery, and simulated building raids were part of the events. All of this while President Trump highlighted plans for new investments in the armed forces.
As part of our One Big Beautiful Bill, we are also investing over $1 billion to update your on-base housing, and we're building a state-of-the-art missile defense shield to protect our homeland, and it's called the Golden Dome. It's going to be all made in America.
And in addition to praising the Army and its readiness, the president also spoke on other topics, including reaching military recruitment goals, restoring the names of 7 more military bases, and his response to the protests happening in Los Angeles. Some of the claims he made in that speech have been challenged in previous addresses. You can find the address and the full fact check in our top article on WRAL.com.
A company that makes futuristic, fuel-efficient jets appears to be picking North Carolina for a new factory. California jet maker Jet Zero is considering a site at Piedmont Triad International Airport in Greensboro. This announcement could bring more than 10,000 jobs to our state. WRAL has learned state and local business groups are planning a major announcement at the Greensboro Airport tomorrow. You can read our full story on WRAL.com.
Happening today, students from historically black colleges and universities will be at the state capitol for a news conference. Organizers say the event will call on state lawmakers to support HBCUs and voting rights. That news conference is scheduled to start at noon.
People in Fayetteville have a chance to share their input on possible uses for a piece of city-owned land. The city is hosting a community conversation tonight about land located at Blunt and Gillespie Streets. Officials say people who attend this will learn about the background information of the site before getting the chance to share what type of development they would like to see. The event starts at 6 tonight at the J.S. Spivey Rec Center.
You'll see Raleigh police officers on South Wilmington Street this morning as part of the department's ongoing Cops on the Block initiative. Officers will be in that area around 10 a.m. The event is designed to help connect officers with the neighborhoods they serve, and the department plans to host these events in every district across the city. That initiative began in 2022.
Trade deal progress. It appears that the U.S. and China have worked out a key piece of a possible trade agreement. What comes next for a potential deal?
Spirit Airlines bomb threat. Passengers were forced to get off their flight, and a man is under arrest. Why authorities say that threat was called in.
And mostly dry out there this morning. Later this afternoon, a few isolated storms could pop up. I'll walk you through it on Futurecast in just a few minutes. 6:13, tiny little cell just fizzling out. It's almost over at this point. Now another 15 minutes and it's not likely to be showing up on the radar. But earlier this morning around, say, Durham and Chapel Hill, lots of heavy rain, lots of lightning. But that's over for now. And I wouldn't expect to see a repeat of that this morning. But this afternoon, there could be, one or two cells that pop up. And in that case, we would see more heavy rain. There's lots and lots of moisture in the atmosphere. But we're talking about just a few isolated little tiny cells popping up. Take a look at this. What a gorgeous sight this is. In Durham, you're going to run into some wet streets, but look at that pretty sun just popping up over the church steeple there. Absolutely gorgeous. Heading out the door this morning, the biggest thing that you're going to notice is it feels very humid, very sticky, and of course that means a high heat index. Our temperatures as you're heading out the door are in the low 70s, but we will climb into the low 90s for this afternoon. If you're headed out to the Gibson Play Plaza, I would go as early as you can. It's going to be a hot afternoon, Ken.
Elizabeth, happening now, we're staying on top of a serious crash that's been just reported in the Holly Springs area at Highway 55 near Green Oaks Parkway. That's right there, that interchange as you're entering Holly Springs. Right now, we're not seeing any delays in that particular area, but I'll just keep an eye on it and let you know exactly how it's going to affect your morning commute, if at all. But elsewhere, you can see all our major routes are all delay-free at this hour. And Renee, coming up in about 5 minutes, another check of your morning commute.
Traffic is always changing. Ken, thank you. China's trade negotiator says the country has worked out the framework of a trade deal with the U.S. After rounds of talks in London on Monday and Tuesday, both sides will bring the proposal back to their respective leaders for approval. This follows a long-anticipated phone call between President Trump and President Xi Jinping last week. The major sticking points in negotiations have been China's control over so-called rare earth minerals and its access to semiconductor technology originating in the U.S.
President Donald Trump plans to phase out FEMA after the 2025 hurricane season. He says he wants to bring the agency down to the state level and let governors handle it. President Trump also says the federal government will start distributing less federal aid for disaster recovery. The president's plans to phase out FEMA have been met with pushback from many federal and state leaders. They say most states do not have the budget or personnel to handle catastrophic disasters on their own. A Spirit Airlines flight was stopped and held on the runway because of a bomb threat. Michelle McConaughey is here now with what happened in all this, Michelle.
Yeah, Jeff, this was a really scary situation. The FBI says the man who called it in was supposed to be on this flight, but missed it. It happened at Detroit Metropolitan Airport on Thursday. Everyone on board Spirit Airlines flight 2145 had to be removed from the flight and screened on the runway by TSA dogs. But within just a few hours, the FBI said they had their suspect, 23-year-old John Robinson, who allegedly admitted to calling in the threat after arriving too late for the flight and telling the Spirit Airlines rep on the phone, quote, "There's going to be someone that's going to try to blow up that flight 2145.
We have a situation, so we unfortunately are going to have to deboard this aircraft, and everybody's going to have to be rescreened."
And when Robinson showed up for the flight he'd been rebooked on, that is when he was charged with use of a cell phone to threaten maliciously bomb. And Robinson appeared in federal court in Detroit on Friday and was released on a $10,000 bond. His next court appearance will be on June 27th.
Covering Wake County, a new schools program is turning hundreds of wasted food items a day into snacks for hungry students. The SHARE program lets children give away packaged food they don't want to eat from their breakfast or lunch. School leaders tell the school board the program is so popular, the donated food is usually gone within a day. It's in 8 elementary schools right now. It will expand to 6 more and 4 middle schools next year.
June 11th, we're getting a full-on dose of summer right here when you talk about the humidity and some of the moisture in the air. You got clouds lingering and stuff, storms popping up. We got it all for you. 90s also later.
Summer,
Right?
all the way through the
We're in
weekend.
it.
And probably beyond at this point. I mean, we had a really, really nice spring and, we knew it was coming at some point. Typically June already feels like summer, and it definitely does. Lots of cloud cover in Fayetteville right now, but we're seeing some sunshine. Just as the sun is coming up, it's going to begin to peek through some of these holes in the clouds here right in our backyard where the tower is. And Chapel Hill, it's fairly gray, courtesy of Top of the Hill restaurant. And then in Apex, partly cloudy skies. The partly cloudy skies we see today, of course, just going to help to increase that heat that we see. We had a pretty potent little cell come through with a lot of heavy rain, lots of lightning across just the northern part of the triangle. Now it's pretty much over at this point. The last bit of it just fizzling out right before it gets to Roanoke Rapids. Here's a look at Futurecast, and we do have some clouds out there this morning. We'll see those clouds dissipating as we get closer to lunchtime. And then by the time we get to 5 o'clock, maybe 1 or 2 cells pop up. We're not going to see a lot of widespread rain here. As we get into the afternoon and evening, we don't have a risk for severe storms, at least at this point, but about a 20 to 30% chance. The chances that we see any showers or thunderstorms during the Bulls game this evening is minimal, about 20% chance. The biggest thing is going to be pretty hot and humid. When the game starts, temperatures will be in the upper 80s, and it's pretty sticky and humid out there. Our next weather maker, the next front, inches toward us as we get closer to the Father's Day weekend, and it will increase our chance for thunderstorms. High pressure building in behind last night's front keeps us fairly dry today, but as the front lifts northward, we get back into a better chance for storms, especially Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's 4 o'clock Friday. We'll pause it again Saturday at 5 o'clock, and then again on Sunday in the middle of the afternoon. And of course, just expect afternoon and evening storms. It's not going to be an all-day rain over the weekend, but a 50% chance Friday and a 60% chance on Saturday and Sunday. How much rain total? Somewhere between ½ an inch and an inch and a half. So these cells will have the potential to produce some heavy rain over the weekend. And another thing, don't forget, it's going to feel like 95 to 100. So again, full on summer weekend for Father's Day. And then that's likely to continue on through the rest of the week. Coming up, I'm going to walk you through each day, and we'll talk about what the heat index is really going to make it feel like, Ken.
Yeah, so gift for Father's Day indoors with the AC.
Yeah, or head to the pool or
There
the
you
lake,
go.
something like
All
that.
right, Elizabeth, thanks. Hey, let's stay on top of this situation we've been following here in the WRAL Traffic Center. This being reported as a serious crash, and we are seeing some delays building right there at Highway 55 at Green Oaks Parkway. That's that interchange as you're just getting into Holly Springs. You're all very familiar with that. Those delays will really cause some issues. So if you're in Holly Springs, you might want to just take Main Street and avoid Highway 55 for the time being because of that crash. Elsewhere, all other major routes are really delay-free at this hour. You're getting ready to head into the car, though. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Thanks, Ken. Summer safety. Raleigh police are launching a new initiative to keep crime at a minimum. The 3 goals of this new safety plan and the areas they plan to focus on.
CPI cutbacks, a critical economic indicator, is cutting back how much data it collects. In our next half hour, 5 on Your Side explains the effect this could have on the accuracy of the Consumer Price Index report.
And ahead on today, the countdown to the FIFA World Cup, 1 year out from the 2026 tournament. Jesse Kirsch has everything you need to know about the matches taking place across the U.S.
Here's a look at your winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers. We'll be back with what's trending.
This What's Trending report, sponsored by Rug & Home.
All right, a trip to the NFL with one of the old timers, Ken, as you mentioned earlier, right? Here now with What's Trending, Ken.
Yeah, that old timer, new Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers revealing how he spent his offseason. He got married. During his first press conference as the Steelers QB, a reporter spotted a ring on his finger and decided to ask him about it.
Aaron, a lot's been made about the ring on your left ring finger. Is that an Aura ring or anything else? That wedding ring? Anything?
Yeah, it's a wedding ring.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How long ago?
It's been a couple months.
You know, at least he answered the question and wasn't coy about it.
Right.
Rodgers, though, has yet to reveal exactly who his spouse is, so that mystery still remains.
Yeah, so he's still having a little fun with it. The 41-year-old now married, but naturally wouldn't say who it
of course
is.
not.
But for a couple of months now, and ESPN, TMZ, no one sussed it out yet.
Right?
Come on.
What a scandal.
Well, how about this? The first of 101 dogs rescued from a puppy mill in Raleigh has been adopted. Jamie's new mom promises to spoil, love, and groom him the way he has always deserved. The SPCA of Wake County says they removed 2 pounds of thick matted fur from Jamie. The SPCA says he wants to help. Donations are being matched dollar for dollar in donated veterinary services.
That's a haircut.
Yeah, sweet Jamie. I'm so glad after what all these pups have been through that now they have a second chance.
Mm-hmm. Good for them.
Today at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, it is Whisker Wednesday. Fans can bring their cats to tonight's matchup against the Charlotte Knights. Tickets are $10 for humans, $5 for your furry friend. Cat ticket proceeds will go towards second chance pet adoptions.
Good cause. Protests in the Triangle. The demonstrations planned for today as tensions over immigration law grow here and across the country.
And carry without a permit. Today, a bill loosening restrictions on concealed weapons goes to a vote. The push behind this move and the concerns it raises for some.